Welcome, Coral Reef Aquarium School Basic. Today is our 20th episode and we will be talking about the branching Montipora. Let me start with a confession. While making last episode, I realized that I forgot one excellent type of beginner SPS, being the branching Montipora. And I need to stay tuned to the basic nature of this course. So off I go to collect a sample of this coral. But let's review how to care for it. Starting with the introduction, we'll cover the experience from keeping the Montipora digitata. And we will focus on the common traded variants of this coral. And this coral is categorized as a small polyp stony coral, SPS. And the branching Montipora, it is one of the easier SPS to keep from a care perspective. SPS typically still need stable and good water conditions to thrive, stable alkalinity in particular, and also a low and balanced nutrient level. And also this coral, some still claim that you should wait a while before introducing it into the tank. So based on what I mentioned in previous episode on the stability criteria of my tank, you make your decision to see if you're ready to try it or not. The Montipora is a light-loving coral, so typically doing very well with moderate to high light intensity. Same with flow, moderate to high flow. The competitive advantage is speed. It competes by overgrowing or shadowing its competition. So, and the placement is typically somewhere in the middle or to the surface of the tank, where you typically have a little bit more flow and a little bit more light. The reproduction of this coral is by calcification of new skeleton, and this new skeleton is later populated by polyps. Okay, signs of well-being or signs of stress. Signs of well-being are good coloration, a white tipping indicating growth, and polyp extension. Signs of stress is poor polyp extension or tissue necrosis. And the first aid is to do the water changes, and remember to check that your salinity meter is calibrated, not to do things worse. The tissue necrosis could also be caused by excessive flow actually. If it sits very close to a stream pump, this could actually wear down the tissue. If the coral bleach, reduce the light intensity. If the coral goes brown, increase the light intensity. With that said about the branching Montipora, we will take a break from inhabitants of the reef, and in our next episode we will be talking about the status and the way forward for this tank. I hope to see you in that episode. Now, with this information, we will also do as we usually do. We will transition into the project phase. Stay tuned. Okay, so for the project phase, let's have a look at the project tank. So I collected a sample of branching Montipora. It is orange to red variant, and it grows with white tips, but just on the side of the white tip there is a green flesh. You can see a tone of green flesh. I hope as the coral stabilizes in this tank, we'll see more of the green. But let's see. Also, you can see to the right actually that there's a snail on the sand. This is an Asarius snail. I introduced it a few weeks ago, but I will mention it in the next episode. But, there's already a indication here that I've introduced inhabitants in the sand. Now, about the water, there's some cloudiness in the water today, and the reason being is that the Trochus, they thought it was the Trochus snails, they thought it was a good idea to reproduce earlier today. So there's some, they released some fluids into the water, and some of this still circulates in the tank, but it will dissipate eventually. Now for attaching the corals to the rock, I'm using fast growth tech epoxy. You can see here on the picture the type I'm using. It's not the prettiest variant. It looks a little bit like chewing gum, but it is quick and effective. Later it will actually overgrow with some corals, with some coralline algae, but yeah, it's not the prettiest currently, but it works, and it works okay for me. Finally, I can also mention that I'm seeing signs of improvement of the coloration in the tank. The increased light intensity is actually improving the coloration so far. Now, as I'm seeing the changes in coloration, I will actually halt a little bit with increasing the intensity and see where we land before I continue. Okay, that said, I thank you for your attention. Stay tuned and see you in the next episode. Bye bye.